I'm 82 years old. I've spent 55 of those years as a father, 3 children, 7 grandchildren. I've paid for the Ivy League tuitions, the lavish weddings, and the first down payments on their homes. I've done everything the Good Father Handbook told me to do. But here's the bitter truth they don't tell you at the baby showers or the Father's Day brunches. They don't tell you that your children, they aren't yours. They never were. We treat them like investments, like extensions of our own ego, expecting a return that never comes in the way we imagined. I'm sitting here in a house that's too big for one person, listening to the silence of a phone that hasn't buzzed in 3 days. It's a specific kind of cold, isn't it? The realization that you've built an empire, but forgot to build a bridge. Don't turn this off, because what I'm about to tell you is the only reason I'm still breathing. It's the difference between leaving a legacy and just leaving a bank account. I'm going to tell you why your sacrifice might be the very thing driving your kids away, and how to stop the rot before you end up in a room like this, waiting for a ghost to call. Listen closely, because time is the one thing I have plenty of now, and the one thing you're running out of. Let's go back. It's 1978. I was 34, fueled by caffeine, nicotine, and a desperate need to be someone. I remember the smell of that old leather briefcase, the smell of ambition. I'd pull into the driveway at 8 p.m., sometimes 9. The house would be glowing with a soft, warm light, but to me, it was just a place to recharge my batteries for the next battle in the boardroom. I thought I was a hero. I really did. I looked at the new station wagon in the driveway, the color TV, the private school brochures on the counter, and I thought, look at what I'm giving them. I'm a great father, but I wasn't giving them anything that mattered. I was just buying off my own guilt with a checkbook. I remember one Tuesday, a rainy Tuesday. My son David was 7. He'd wait by the front door every day. I'd hear his small feet running toward the door as I turned the key. But that night I was exhausted. A deal had fallen through. I walked in, and when he reached up to grab my hand, I didn't take it. I just said, "Not now, Dave. Daddy's tired. Go help your mother." I saw his shoulders slump, just a tiny fraction of an inch, a small movement that I ignored for 30 years. I didn't see the light in his eyes dim. I didn't realize that in that split second, I had taught him that his presence was a burden to my success. I chose the silence of my scotch over the chatter of his day. And my wife, she'd look at me from across the kitchen, not with anger, but with a quiet, devastating loneliness. She was raising 3 strangers under my roof while I was out building monuments to my ego. I thought the money made me the king of the castle. I didn't realize a king without a connection is just a prisoner in a very expensive cell. You think you have time. You think you can make it up to them later, when the mortgage is paid, when the promotion comes. But childhood doesn't have a pause button. While I was busy providing for their future, I was systematically erasing myself from their present. I was becoming a ghost in my own home, a bank account with a pulse, and nothing more. Now look at me. I'm 82. I live in a fortress of my own making. Granite countertops, Italian leather, a view of the valley. Everything I worked for in those rainy Tuesdays of the 70s. But silence has a sound when you're this old. It's heavy. It's the sound of a house that's too big for one pair of lungs. Yesterday was my birthday. My phone lit up 3 times. 3 texts. "Happy birthday, Dad. We're so busy with the kids' soccer, but we sent a gift card to your email." A gift card. They sent plastic to a man who's starving for a conversation. They think they're being good kids because they remembered the date, but they don't remember the man. I go to their houses for Thanksgiving, and I feel like a guest in a hotel I paid for. I sit at the head of the table, and I watch them. They talk over me. They talk about their careers, their investments, their hustle. And it hits me like a physical blow to the chest. I taught them this. I taught them that life is a ladder to be climbed, not a garden to be tended. My daughter Sarah, she's a high-powered lawyer now, just like I wanted. But when she looks at me, she doesn't see a father. She sees a liability. She sees a schedule that needs to be managed. Dad, are you taking your pills? Did the gardener show up? She's managing me like a project because that's the only language I ever spoke to her. I spoke in results, not feelings. Now, I'm just a result that's slowly expiring. The most bitter truth? Your kids will love you, but they might not like you. They love the idea of you. They love the inheritance you're leaving behind, but they don't know the man behind the bank account because you never let them in. You were too busy being a provider to be a person. You traded your presence for their comfort, and now they use that comfort to ignore your absence. I sit here in the dark sometimes just to see if the silence will tell me where I went wrong, and it always says the same thing. You won the world, old man, but you lost the only people who were supposed to be in it with you. That's the modern story. High-speed internet, low-speed connection. Why does it take us 80 years to see what was right in front of us? I'll tell you why. Because of the provider's trap. We men, we love to feel like martyrs. We love the narrative that we are bleeding for our families, working 14-hour days, missing the birthdays, missing the bedtimes, all for them. But let's be honest, was it really for them? Or was it for the way it made you feel when you walked into the office? The way the world looked at you when you drove that car? We used providing as an excuse to avoid the messy, emotional, terrifying work of actually being a father. It's easier to write a check for a college tuition than it is to sit on the edge of a bed and ask a teenager, "What are you afraid of?" We treated our children like trophies or extensions of our own brand. We wanted them to be better versions of us so we could feel like we succeeded. But kids aren't projects. They aren't stocks in your portfolio. They are human beings who needed a witness to their lives, not a manager of their futures. And here is the bitterest pill to swallow. Your kids don't owe you a thing. Not for the roof over their heads, not for the clothes, not for the life you gave them. You chose to bring them here. That was your decision, not theirs. To expect repayment in the form of forced affection or a seat at their table is the ultimate act of ego. Love is a gift, not a debt. And if you spent 50 years acting like a debt collector, don't be surprised when they stop answering the door. We realize it too late because the ego is loud. It screams about legacy and reputation. But the soul is quiet. You only hear it when the office is closed, the kids are gone, and you're left with the man in the mirror. You realize you spent your life building a house, but you never learned how to live in it. So, what do? If you're 40, 50, or 60, and you feel that wall growing between you and your kids, how do you tear it down? Listen to me, because I'm giving you the map I wish I had 50 years ago. First, stop playing the martyr. Stop telling them about the 80-hour work weeks and the things you gave up for them. Every time you mention your sacrifice, you're just handing them a bill they never asked for. If you want a relationship, stop acting like a debt collector. Be a father, not a martyr. Second, learn to listen to their boring stories. When they talk about their video games, their strange music, or their useless degrees, listen like it's the most important news in the world, because it is. To them, you represent the world. If the world doesn't listen, they'll find a world that does. Third, get a life of your own. The biggest burden you can place on your children is the responsibility of making you happy. Find a hobby, find a God, find a purpose that isn't tied to their success. When you are a whole person, they will want to be near you. When you are a void waiting to be filled by their attention, they will run. The clock is ticking, gentlemen, and it ticks faster for us than for anyone else. You think you're building a legacy with your bank account, but your real legacy is the way your kids feel when they hear your name. Do they feel a weight in their chest or a warmth in their heart? I've said my piece. I'm going for a walk now. Maybe I'll call David, not to ask for anything, but just to tell him I saw a red bird today and it reminded me of him. Don't wait until you're 82 to make that call. Go before the silence becomes permanent.